Well, we are super excited to I'm super excited to introduce you to a CEO of a really successful business. In fact, a series of business. This is Vincent Smith. He's a mentor of mine. We've connected, and I'm hoping to learn from him and grow from him because he's built businesses that are really influencing lives and disrupting the legal industry. So Vince, why don't you just tell us a little bit about your background, and then we'll get into the individual companies that you own.
Sure. My background's pretty simple. I grew up in a family where my grandmother was a bail bondsman during Prohibition, so she was a pretty tough lady. I kind of learned about the criminal justice system off her knee, and it was kind of interesting how the business progressed because my daughters are now fourth generation bail bondsmen. So we created a company that pretty much is a family of criminal justice related and legal companies that all interact with each other. And, we go after it. We have some companies that are nationwide, like our Discount Legal Plan and our Help Legal Plan and a couple of others. And we have some that are basically regional companies. And, we work really hard every day to try to help people that run into problems with the legal system, whether it's on the criminal side or the civil side. We help people with do-it-yourself legal documents and, a variety of things.
I see. So bail is an interesting concept. I was not convicted of a crime or charged with a crime that would have allowed me to receive bail. I was incarcerated pre-trial. Why don't you tell me a little bit about how the business model of bail works? Because I'd like to learn, and perhaps some people in our audience would like that as well.
It's a little different in the federal system versus the state system and the local system. Bail is a product which is backed by an insurance company. For example, my daughter runs the family bail company, and her name is Kelly DeMoore. And what she does is, she's appointed by an insurance company, and she can basically pledge blank checks, if you will, in certain amounts to guarantee people's appearance in court. It allows them to remain outside of prison during pretrial or possibly an appeal while they fight their criminal case.
What is the default rate on bail, roughly speaking?
In the commercial bail industry, I've been out of it for some time, but from what I understand, the rates are significantly low. It's less than 1% that actually default.
So 99% of the people who request your services, they actually show up and do what they're supposed to do, and that results in you getting your money back and your fee, and they go on. But 1% are going to have a visit from the bounty hunter, it sounds like.
That's correct. 1% are a bit of a headache.
Did you have to employ a bounty hunter, or is that a separate contractor that provides a service like that?
We have in-house people. My daughter has in-house people that help her. We have for many years. For example, we have people who used to work for the district attorney's office, in the detective side that work for us. And we also employ outside bounty hunters, if you will, to go and retrieve people if need be. But it's a little different than what you see on television.
So it's interesting that you started off in that business, but then you branched out like a real true entrepreneur in finding new ways to bring in revenues and build businesses. And it sounds like your big one is called Discount Legal Plan. Why don't you walk me through what Discount Legal Plan does and how consumers get benefit from that?
Discount Legal Plan is a great program. We have an attorney network that is nationwide. We provide criminal defense lawyers, and we provide family law lawyers, and we also provide immigration defense lawyers. And what that program does is a consumer comes to us and says, "Hey, look, I've got a particular legal problem in, say, for example, California. In California, we'll match that person up with the right type of lawyer in that specialty, depending upon what the person's legal need is. We'll put them together with the right lawyer, and the lawyer will basically take a look at their case for free, give them a free consultation, and they'll do some research on the case, and basically they'll come back to us and the customer, and they'll say, hey, look, this is what I think it's going to, how much it's going to be to take care of the case. And we try to get the lawyers to provide a flat fee. In some cases we can't do that. Like a lot of family law cases, they're just, the more people argue, the more expensive it is. But we are the only legal plan in America that not only matches clients with the right lawyers, but we also provide financing to help them pay their legal fees.
What is the process that you use to match them with the right lawyers?
Well, for example, it's like going to a doctor. If you have a heart problem, you're not going to go to a podiatrist, a foot doctor. So you're going to be matched up with the right kind of person. If you have cancer, you're going to get matched up with a very good cancer doctor. In this case, if you have a severe drug case, you're going to get matched with a person who handles those types of cases. Our lawyers are vetted. We check them for complaints. We check them for, basically, their conduct, and, make sure they're insured and so forth. And all that vetting's done. So, and these are people that we feel comfortable with referring out.
Does that mean that and forgive me if I mischaracterize it, but does that it sounds to me like you're like almost an HMO for the legal profession. They've got to be in your network in order for you to match them with somebody. Is that right?
Absolutely. Yes.
And who is your client then? Is it the lawyer or is it the consumer that's looking for a lawyer?
Well, it's kind of interesting because we market direct to consumers, and we match them up with the lawyers. But in the same token, we have lawyers within our network, or lawyers who want to join our network and come to us and say, hey, look, I've got a client. I really want to take this case, but I need to get them financed. So we'll have that customer join our membership services and provide them with financing, and we'll pay the lawyer directly. So we have a two-pronged approach. It's direct to consumer, and we'll also get a lot of referrals from lawyers.
But the lawyer's fiduciary duty is to the client, or is it to you?
No, the fiduciary duty is to the client always.
And so when you're in this business, how do you go about marketing a business like that? Is it direct mail? Or you have a sales team calling people? How are you expanding across the country?
Well, a lot of word of mouth, believe it or not. We have a substantial number of lawyers within our network. We get a lot of referrals from lawyers. We also do a lot of social media advertising. We do some direct mail, but primarily our strongest
lead source
would be word of mouth.
And what is the typical, is there a range of fees that's like your sweet spot?
Our membership fee annually is $399. And what that provides a member is direct access to one of our attorneys within the network for a year. And what we do is it also provides them access to our financing options. And it's actually cheaper than a credit card for them to purchase a legal service.
So the consumer would pay you $399 a year in anticipation that he or she may need legal services?
They can. Some people do that. However, it's this isn't an insurance product, so it's not like buying the car insurance at the scene of the accident. We actually allow people to sign up right away. So if somebody has an arrest problem, or they have a post-conviction problem, or they've got a divorce issue, or a child custody issue, or a problem with immigration, that day they can sign up and use the product immediately.
I see. And how long do they generally stay with you? How many years does the client generally stay with you?
Most people drop off within the year, because if they don't need it, they can always re-sign up, for latter. But some people, we've got about a 45%, 50% retention rate.
There are people that are doing this on a subscription basis. Like every year, they know they're going to have some legal problems. they anticipate it as a business model. And so
Yes.
that's interesting. Did you innovate or create this industry? Because I've never heard of it before.
Well, we compete with obviously several large players out there, LegalZoom, Legal Shield, and Rocket Lawyer.
They provide a service that finances legal fees and matching clients with attorneys.
We're the only legal plan in America that provides its members with financing to help them pay their legal fees.
And what is the typical fee that it would make sense for a client to hire you? I've got to imagine that you have like a floor and a ceiling or a sweet spot.
We do. Depending upon the charge, will depend upon like a DUI, for example. They typically, depending upon what geographic area in the United States that you're located, will really depend on, what the fees are for that particular service. They can run anywhere from $2,000 to $10,000, just depending upon what, market you're in within the United States.
Yeah, so that's generally the range of your market that you're financing is $2,000 to $10,000.
Yes, we've also financed much larger cases. We've had capital murder cases. We've had large drug cases. We've had some substantial cases that are, pretty high profile as well.
I got to think that the default rate would be pretty high for somebody who retains a lawyer, then gets convicted, and he finds himself in federal prison or state prison, and he can't pay. Am I missing something?
No, we kind of understand this market probably better than anybody else in the United States due to the generations of business that we had been involved in the criminal justice industry within bail. So we kind of underwrite the legal financing agreement like we might underwrite a bail bond. So, for us, we understand it, and we try to get a family member who's gainfully employed, sometimes more than one family member on the hook to kind of back the paper. So if the person obviously goes into prison, and we try to avoid that for all of our clients. But if that does happen, obviously they can't pay, then the guarantor has to step up and pay. So our default ratio is kind of low.
So interesting that you've also leveraged from that business into other industries as well. I heard you speak about the pro se business, which is really interesting to me, and I think to anybody who's going into the system that may think they need a lawyer to handle all of their problems. Tell us a little bit about what the pro se model looks like.
Sure. The pro se model is People's Justice. We also have another entity that we're partners in called Divorces and More, but primarily People's Justice offers a wide variety of do-it-yourself legal services for people. And basically, if they don't need a lawyer and we can do the filings for them on their behalf, it saves them an incredible amount of money. Everything's guided by an on-staff attorney that we have. And, if they do need an attorney, say, for example, you have a child custody case where you're agreeing to pay support and so forth, and maybe you agree on child custody today, and, you and your spouse aren't arguing over, it's 50-50 shared situation. It's every other holiday, every other weekend, whatever it's going to be. Those can be done very inexpensively, and we can file those for you, on behalf as a pro se applicant.
So when you say pro se, hypothetically, I am a client of yours, and I really want to pursue this path without spending the very high cost of having a lawyer. You will fill out. Am I to understand that you will fill out the documents and file the documents for me?
Absolutely, yes.
And how does the legal profession respond to that service?
Well, obviously we're disrupting the legal industry just a bit. But, we're also competing with the likes of LegalZoom and Rocket Lawyer and some of the other large entities out there. So it's been happening. We're just doing it a little differently. We also don't do it necessarily online. We also have brick and mortar locations. where people can walk in and feel a little more comfortable. The people that work there aren't lawyers, but they are supervised by lawyers.
So Vince, it sounds like you've got your hands in a lot of different industries and businesses, and we communicate with a lot of people that that aspire to be somebody like you, an entrepreneur that builds a company and then takes one company and uses its strengths to launch another company. Could you tell us a little bit about how you trained yourself, or do you have a formal education? Are you a lawyer? Help us understand the academic or professional training you've had to be so successful in launching so many businesses.
I grew up in business as a young person, and I can remember, collecting rents for my grandmother. I can remember being in her bail office while people came in for bail. So it was always around business. And as I grew older, obviously I graduated high school in Reading, Pennsylvania. Also attended the University of Maryland, the Far East Division, while I was in the United States Marine Corps, and came out, started some businesses, and ended up at the Wharton School of Business on an executive education program, and just kind of developed it from there. I, kind of jumped into the lion's den and learned, how to cope.
So would you consider yourself to be a person who is formally trained, or somebody who learned on the job and trained himself?
A little of both. I mean, primarily training myself, but I did get some great guidance, particularly at Wharton, on how to run a business properly, and how to expand, and how to provide the back office support, and how to have companies pretty much working with one another.
How long have you been in business?
I've been in business since my early 20s, and I'm 57 years old.
So almost 40 years,
Yeah.
Right? Almost 40 or 30 years, almost 30 years,
About
long
30.
time. And how has the growth been of this? Is it all operate under one umbrella, or are they all separate companies in separate locations?
They're all standalone companies, but the ownership is similar. So the main company is Legal Risk Services Incorporated. That's kind of our holding company, if you will, that has ownership, and either full ownership or partial ownership in all of these businesses. And that's how we operate.
So how many employees work under the Legal Risk Services or the various companies? If you take them all together, how many people do you employ? How many jobs do you provide?
We have approximately 35 to 40 employees.
And when you're hiring somebody, could you help our audience understand what you're looking for in an ideal candidate?
What we're looking for is background, somebody who has some experience, but we're also looking for people who are hungry, people who want to get up every day and really enjoy what they're doing. Because we have kind of a family atmosphere, although we have, 8 locations spread out, over different geographic areas. We like to consider ourselves a family. So that's how we roll.
And how about the length of time that people have stayed with a company like yours? Like, what's your longest tenured employees that are not family related?
Not family related, I would say 10 years.
So long time. People build genuine careers with you. Would somebody who has a criminal background be prohibited from working in an industry like yours?
No, we actually look for people who have experience within the criminal justice system.
That you mean experience as somebody who's gone into it as a defendant?
Absolutely.
Very, very, very good to know. What might that person do? Let's say we're talking to people who might aspire to get a job with an organization like yours. What would you recommend that person be doing while he is incarcerated to really get a second look from your team as potentially being a candidate for employment? What skills should he develop?
That person needs some self-motivation skills. That person needs to be able to read and write and communicate effectively to others. That's really important. And somebody who has a very good attitude. They've got to basically, be an extension of your company. So in order for that, they already have an experience. They've lived an experience with the criminal justice system that most people don't know. A lot of people that do know it. They have an experience that, they can help people and guide them through the criminal justice system and hopefully make those, that very difficult journey a little bit more palatable.
What's really interesting about what you said is in the courses that we create, we talk about the importance of using time in prison to develop strong critical thinking skills so that you understand how do I make the most out of every opportunity and understand the threats, including wasting time and how that will influence my future. And we also really place a lot of emphasis on developing communication skills. And what I heard you just say are those are the two skills that you need to build a career with your company, and you operate a number of companies. That's what you're looking for. If somebody does that and they've really worked hard, what could somebody like that, like best in class, what could somebody like that earn with an organization like yours?
The earning potential. I mean, we've had people start as telephone operators who are now running a division, and they're making, upwards of, 75,000 plus a year. So, the opportunities are there. It's a matter of what you do once you're inside the door and making the most of that opportunity.
What I really like about your message, Vince, is it gives hope to somebody who's living without hope. A lot of people who live in prison believe that their past bad decisions are really going to influence their prospects for success or even getting in the job. But if they're thinking wisely, they're thinking about industries like yours where their background could actually be an asset rather than a weakness, particularly if they develop those strong critical thinking skills and communication skills.
Absolutely. I mean, we look for people like that. We savor people like that. We embrace them because they have a lot to offer.
And there's a lot of capacities they can work within your organization, starting with, as you said, maybe just starting by answering the telephone, but advance to some of the other positions. What are some of those other positions that you need fulfilled in the course of a growing company like yours?
Well, right now we have several companies, one of which is called Habitats of Hope. It is a sober/recovery house situation where it helps people transition from a drug treatment facility to real life. It kind of helps them with their life skills to be able to go out and be productive people, have the right mindset, and so forth. It also offers some clinical services, which allows them to get the counseling they need and so forth, whether that's in recovery itself or the job world, so to speak. And it's a great program, and we see a lot of rapid growth opportunity for the right people in that particular thing. And we also send people to court advocating, treatment versus incarceration. So we help people with drug and alcohol problems. We help people try to get their lives back on track.
How about sales positions? Are there sales positions available where people can really just let their earning capacity just be dictated by their willingness to work, a strong work ethic and going out? Do you have sales positions like that?
Absolutely. Yes, sir, we do. In every single facet of what we do.
Mm-hmm. So this is an important lesson for anybody who's trying to be resilient and build their life, regardless of where you are today. As long as you're focused on building a strong critical thinking skill set and strong communication skills, as long as you have a really solid work ethic, you're self-directed, doesn't matter what your past is about. What matters is what you're going to do. And one way to exercise those critical thinking skills is to reach out and try and find guys like Vincent Smith, an entrepreneur who's built a business. It's been around for more than 30 years and employs more than between 30 and 40 people and growing. Do you have plans to continue growing your ventures, Vince? And if so, could you tell us about those plans?
Absolutely. We plan on growing the businesses, and we're always looking for great opportunities that kind of mold with what we're doing, kind of go hand in hand. We're looking at the prison consulting industry, very, very strongly, and we're really excited about some new opportunities there. And we think that the growth opportunities, regardless of the reforms to the criminal justice system, that are going on right now. Some of them are good, some of them aren't so good. But for the most part, there are opportunities for people like us.
And there's always an opportunity for somebody who's got a good work ethic, strong critical thinking skills, good communications. So regardless of where you are, it's always wise to invest in yourself. And that's the way you get on board with a great company like Legal Risk Services and the Discount Legal Plan, Help Legal Plan, Habitats of Hope, Nationwide Virtual Paralegal Services. I am naming them all for you, Vince. Divorces and More, People's Justice, and the Bail Shop. So where are you located? What city?
Our headquarters is in Lebanon, Pennsylvania. It's about 50 miles outside of Philadelphia.
And so another audience that may be of interest in this are attorneys that are getting off the ground and want to develop relationships with more clients. It sounds like one phone call may be out to Vince Smith at Legal Risk Services, because it sounds like he's got a stream of clients that are looking for that service. And he also provides the additional benefit of financing people who need who needs those services. So is there anything that I missed, Vince, that you think I should have been covering in this interview?
No, I think you pretty much did a great job hitting all the points.
Well, I just want to thank you for spending this time with us today. I like to record episodes like this so that I can hopefully teach and inspire people that are living without hope, helping them understand that if they have the initiative and they reach out, they can find a relationship with an entrepreneur and work their way into society. But it all starts with a person being willing to invest in himself. And to the extent somebody does that, the sky's the limit.
That's right.
Thanks so much for Vince Smith with Legal Risk Services and the Discount Legal Plan. I'll have his contact information right below. And if you need those services, I hope that you give him a call. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Michael.